What up, techies? As any history buff knows, people have always thought they were living in the end times. Life goes on as usual, but each succeeding generation thinks it must be special to be around for the end of the world. This is a problem because it prevents us from planning for the long term and creating a better world for our children and grandchildren. The fact that we may be living through one of the most pivotal eras in human history further compounds the gravity of the current predicament. Let's look at human history and ask pertinent questions to help us understand the current state of affairs. How did we get to this point? What can we do to change course? And most importantly, what does the future hold for the human race? Don't forget that there's a lot of potential for error in estimates like this, so take them with a very large grain of salt. Let's look at the history of the human population to get a feel for how many people will be alive in the future. Present-day humans first appeared sometime around 200,000 years ago. They were masters of such diverse skills as tool manufacturing, storytelling, abstract cognition, planning, and working cooperatively in large groups that went far beyond their immediate families. Our population has reached 2 million after 150,000 years of expansion. Slow but steady growth led to the agricultural revolution, which is often regarded as the greatest momentous transformation in our history. At that point, our numbers really started to grow. It took another 10,000 years for the population to triple to 300 million. However, the impact of the Industrial Revolution dwarfed that population increase. By the year 1800, our population had reached 1 billion. The population doubled in size in just 120 years, and then again 50 years later. There are now almost 8 billion of us. The human population doubled in size during the past 200,000 years, from 117 billion to 109 billion. According to this calculation, approximately 7% of all humans are still alive. It is almost the same as the total number of human births over the first 150,000 years of recorded history. All the time, whether they were wealthy or not, and regardless of their lifespan, we saw a decline in our population growth as our standard of living rose. The United Nations estimates that the world's population will have peaked by 2100 with an annual birth rate of 125 million. For the sake of this thought experiment, let's assume that birth rates will stay the same forever. Even though this is implausible, the time of our species extinction is the most important factor in determining the final population count. There are a lot of surprises in this area. Though we have the technology to destroy ourselves with our creations, we also possess the resources to create safeguards against disaster. We have the technology to deflect potentially disastrous asteroids, but we also have nuclear weapons. Because of our use of antibiotics, we can potentially stop the spread of disease rapidly around the globe. But the remarkable rise in living standards was purchased with the degradation of the natural world brought about by our industrial economy. It's hard to say whether or not human ingenuity will increase our species' lifespan. We may meet an untimely end if the current trajectory of events persists, and be stuck here for quite some time if we can't prevent that. Maybe if we can delay our own destruction, even for a day, we may be saving the lives of many others. The future of our species relies on how far it evolves. First, let's assume that nobody ever leaves Earth. As measured by the fossil record, the rate of animal extinction is an important factor to consider if we choose to stay on Earth. Some mammalian species have been seen to live for up to 10 million years. However, the average lifespan of mammalian species is estimated to be about 1 million years. Homo erectus, a close ancestor of modern humans, last inhabited Earth about 1.9 million years ago. Assuming a pessimistic outlook, if we think humans will be around for 1 million years, we have another 800,000 years to kill time, with an average annual birth rate of 125 million. This would mean that over 100 million human beings are currently undergoing embryonic development within their mothers. This calculation suggests that there will never be more than 0.008% of the world's population alive at any given time. The first chapter, not the last, is the story of humanity. Don't forget that this could be a negative prediction. It has been estimated that our future population might reach 1.2 quadrillion if we all had the same lifespan as the longest living mammals. The assumption here is, of course, that our lifespans are comparable to theirs. Even this feels like a far cry from our full potential. If the sun keeps getting hotter and brighter for the next 500 million years, Earth will remain habitable for at least that long. This will make it possible for much more potential humanity to become reality. With that in mind, let's start to consider the big picture. People leaving Earth is the other option. Since we have gone from worshipping the moon to walking on it, it's hard to say how far our civilization can go from here. If our species survives another few hundred years, some of the most far-fetched ideas of today may look like reasonable alternatives. We can colonize distant planets or perhaps build our own artificial worlds if we believe our species has a chance of surviving for hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of years. The three things required for survival are a surface, resources, and energy. The sun will continue to provide energy for billions of years. The asteroid and Kuiper belts are rich in water and other resources, suggesting that they may sustain a population many times larger than Earth. In the future, humans may prefer to forgo terraforming planets in favor of inhabiting the artificial worlds and homes they design. We can try various social structures and lifestyles with much power and material at our disposal. A networked civilization spanning the entire solar system would provide the basis of existence for an absurd number of people, orders of magnitude more than if we cling to Earth as our lone home. It's not inevitable that the future will be as dark and depressing as it is depicted in certain science fiction. With quadrillions of people on the birth list, we may expect to see an increase in the number of people working to tackle problems like disease and poverty, and the number of people developing video games and other forms of entertainment. In some cases, extra hands might make work go faster. If our species leaves Earth and spreads out beyond the solar system, extinction is unlikely to occur. A catastrophe must afflict the entire solar system to eradicate humanity. Therefore, barring nearby supernova or gamma ray bursts, the human race would be secure from extinction for the foreseeable future. This may be billions of years or more. If we survive that long, we could split into many different species through natural selection and genetic engineering, or decide to remain exactly as we are now. Because of this, from now on, the term humans shall be replaced with people. Okay, let's take a step back and look at the broad picture for a second. The third scenario involves human exploration of the universe beyond the solar system. The solar system is just one among the billions of star systems that comprise the Milky Way, so don't let its massive size fool you. There will likely be around 100 octillion people alive in the future if we assume that people can colonize 100 billion stars, each of which they will inhabit for 10 billion years, and produce 100 million offspring each year. It's entirely up to us how intricate this gets. It has been predicted that the merger of the Milky Way with the Andromeda Galaxy will create a new galaxy with 1 trillion stars. Future civilizations could be able to locate enough energy to run their homes near black holes for 1 trillion years. There's a chance that our ancestors will try to colonize other galaxy clusters if their civilization develops far enough. These estimates are staggering, yet they may be off by several orders of magnitude when applied to the total number of human fetuses. The total quantity of energy in the galaxy can be divided by the average amount of energy needed by a single human to determine the total number of potential lives in the galaxy. There might be a population of 1 trillion people. It should now be evident that almost all humans who will ever exist will continue to exist into the future unless we kill ourselves off in the next few decades or millennia. That's the best case scenario for sure. This brings us back to the present moment. To put it another way, we are at a crossroads in human history, with possibilities beyond our wildest dreams. In 3 broad categories: technology, ecology, and society. The actions we take today will affect future generations. Therefore, perhaps this has given you some perspective, even though it is not trendy to think about the long-term future of humanity with a hopeful outlook. If the present is ruined, many people may never see tomorrow. Future quadrillions will be completely dependent on us. An individual born 1,000 or 1,000,000 years from now may depend critically on our actions for their survival. Because of this, it is crucial to think about the distant future and the significance of our present actions. When that time comes, reproduction will end. However, we can't pinpoint a specific date at this time. Let's pretend for a moment that we're not living thousands of years after the end of the human story, but rather at the dawn of the human epoch. If we take this line of thinking, then every action we take today profoundly impacts the kind of world our children and grandchildren will experience. Let us then leave them an enduring world to inherit. Thank you, and please give us your thoughts in the comments.